So I've done quite a few Megaman Battle Network 6 challenges at this point, but this one I came up with had me take things to the next level by racking my game knowledge and skill. This time, I wanted to see if I could beat Megaman Battle Network 6 by one-shotting everything. A few things to note is that I would have to maintain full synchro on most fights and find a legitimate way to beat all the bosses in one hit. Is that even possible? Well, in order to make any progress, I had to include multi-hit chips. But the way how it's gonna work is that it would only count as long as they one-shot in a single usage. So technically we are one-shotting, but not instantly. So here is how I was able to do just that. Most of the random encounters can easily be one-shotted by normal means, but we still want to maintain full synchro no matter what, just so that way it's easier to deal with the next battles. I won't put a lot of focus on them, so we don't really have to worry about them too much, but rather we want to focus on the bosses such as Blastman, who has 400 HP. So how can I, at the start of the game, deal 400 damage in one go? With not much accessibility to other chips, I already had a plan in mind. In Robot Control Comp, which is the area that Blastman is in, you can get a C code for Cannon, and since that you start out with Cannon A and Cannon B, that will give us access to the first program advance called Giga Cannon. It was a perfect start into this run. However, there was a small insight to this. Giga Cannon does 300 damage using the normal cannons. Now, for the longest time, I thought it did exactly 400 damage since Battle Network 5 did. And here, it was nerfed by 100 damage, but it also got upgraded to do an explosion. So after wrapping my head around this, I had to look for an alternative, and luckily found a solution. In Central Area, there are these green mystery data that will grant you either currency or battle chips. And the chip that I want is Tornado. It deals 20 damage that hits 8 times for a total of 160 damage. But if I add attack plus to it, that gives it 10 damage more. With only having 5 chip slots into battle, I can have Tornado combined with 4 attack plus. That'll be 60 damage times 8 for a grand total of 480 damage, which was more than enough to take down Blastman. So after grabbing those, it was time to deal with the first boss in the game. See, 20 plus 40, 60, it's 8 times. This should kill it. This should insta-kill him. Come on, come on. Yes, 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 it insta-killed him. After a short celebration, it was quickly shot down after thinking about Dive Man, who in which has 500 HP. And my strongest chip at this point is Tornado. No worries, I came prepared for this moment. By going back into Blastman stage, I could fight these champion enemies that would grant me the fire hit chip. And by combining them together, I would get a program advance called Flame Hook, which does 300 damage that hits twice for a total of 600. There is a problem to this because the first hit would give invincibility, and Dive Man had to be in the middle for both of the attacks to connect. So to make sure that both of the attacks connect, I had to make sure that Dive Man was in the center, and I counter him. There we go, D, E, and F. Alright, here goes. Alright, so now that we got it, now we just gotta wait. Gonna do wave attack? Yeah, okay, I don't want to try my luck right there. There we go! There we go! Oh my goodness, I still got it. Even after months of me not playing, I still got it. Let's freaking go. That moment felt pretty good. But as I was excited for a certain section of the game, I completely forgot about fighting Heat Man. Flamework wasn't going to be enough because he had 700 HP. So I panicked. I was looking around my Navicus, desperately looking around my battle chips. I even thought about using the patch cards as well. But after looking into my folder again, I found the solution to this problem, which was Torn Arrow. Luckily, I found it because it easily took down Heatman. It was way too close of an oversight, because if I didn't have that chip lying around, I would have to completely reset the game. But I quickly forgot about it after managing a speedrun trick. Oh yeah, there we go, I did it. Afterwards, it was Circus Man, who has 700 HP. Unlike how I dealt with Heatman, he had no elemental weakness. And obviously, Flame Hook wasn't going to work. So I needed to come up with another method. Thankfully, the chip shop became available. So I went inside and instantly went to the lotto code machine, where I got a few chips, and one of them being Air Spin. One of the strongest chips that you can use, because by throwing it down, if you have the tornado chip, by using it right on it, it would make it last longer, therefore dealing way more damage. And so, this was the only means that I had to take down Circus Man. Finally, I got to the area that I was excited about. Green area, where the resources that I needed would change everything in this run. One of them being Grass Seed, which was going to be very important to use Flame Hook, because that meant I could do double damage. It was very necessary to take down some of the bosses later on. Even though I do have Air Spinner here, I tried my best to not rely on it too much, but rather use Flame Hook, since I felt like there was some challenge using it, and I didn't want to rely too much on multi-hit at this point, unless I really had to, even though technically Flame Hook is a multi-hit. But like I said before, I wanted to use Flame Hook because I felt like there was some challenge using it. And so that's what I did to face Judge Man. Because I picked up the Grass Seed, combined with Flame Hook, I was able to take him down. Afterwards, I went back to Green area, then I went and grabbed the most important item that would completely change the momentum of this challenge. The Humor Program. But wait, isn't this item useless? What reason is there for me that I needed it so much? Well, this useless program has a hidden mechanic behind it. By purposely putting it off grid in the Navicus, it causes Megaman to have an emotion bug, which causes him to switch between 4 different emotions, 2 of which were full synchro and angry, which allowed me to deal double damage without having to interact with the enemy. But in battle, it appears at random, having a 1 out of 16 chances, whereas the useless ones, normal and tired, had a higher chance. This was a game changer. And a good example to showcase this was in Sky area, where you have to fight multiple battles one after another, which made it such a breeze to get through. Of course, it wasn't exactly easy, as that 1 out of 16 chance made things difficult, so I also relied on Program Advance and some other strong chips that I got. Thanks to this, when I encountered the next boss, Element Man, I got to instantly one-shot him without having to rely on a multi-hit chip. That was really satisfying. After that, I came to the realization about something that I was wrong about. With me relying on Flame Hook this whole time, you may think that it was the strongest chip I could be using. There was actually one Program Advance that was way stronger than the rest. Giga Time Bomb. There was 3 different versions of it, and because of the other Program Advance, I thought that the different versions did different damage, but my curiosity got to the better of me. Since I had beaten Element Man, I was able to go to his comp and got the code that I needed, then went to the shop to realize that I already had that other code. Then the last one, I had to wait and get to ACDC to get the last one, which was the next area that I was already headed to. Once I got it, I shoved them into the folder and saved, since I didn't want to mindlessly grind for them again. I know it's kind of late to mention this, but if I happen to not one-shot any enemies, then I would have to reset. I didn't want to abuse it a lot, so I only let myself save at certain point of the game before anything major happened. Which thankfully I did so because on a random encounter, I failed to one-shot for the first time in the run. Why did it do it like that? How far did I save? I saved it all the way over here. Okay, I guess it's not too bad. I had to do some boring running around once more until I had to do a rematch fight against Glassman. It was no big deal since I picked up a new program advance, Wide Burner. I decimated him. Then Dive Man, who also suffered the same fate. Unfortunately, I lose Megaman to the plot, so that meant I had to play as Beatman, who I couldn't take advantage of the emotion bug to deal double damage, which was the big carry into this late in the game. With the next fight being Megaman in his side beast form, he has 900 HP. So how do I one-shot him? Well, we go back to the old reliable flame hook. But I had to be very careful on how I would use it. The way how Megaman attacks is that he goes to your row, and if you just so happen to counter him, he goes back to the tower where he was before he attacked. So that means only one attack would connect. Because of that, I needed a method to this by using area grab and make sure I stay in the front row so that it doesn't disappear. Due to this, I do end up taking lots of damage, but all I needed was one chance before I had to reset. Okay, the moment of truth. The moment of truth. Okay. Can't get hit. No. So, yeah. I mistimed the counter and was forced to run the monotonous minigame again and fought Megaman the second time. D, E, F. Okay. Let's see if it works. Let's see if we could react to it. Or maybe if I move like this. There we go! There we go! Yeah! Oh my goodness, finally! It wasn't over yet, as I had to fight Ferno right away. Thankfully, Megaman returned, so that means I could take advantage of the motion bug and finally got to use Giga Time Bomb. Alright, our first Time Bomb, first in action against a boss at least, because we tested it out earlier. Yes! It was a pretty easy fight so far. However, the only thing that was ever really challenging in these runs were these multiple encounters that the game puts you through. And they were pretty difficult to manage and had a higher HP. So just like the fight in Sky area, I utilized every tool that I had. There we go. It's only gonna get harder from here. Like this one. Oh wait, we got Element Trap. Unless we get lucky like this, then it's not gonna be too difficult. Come on, come on. What? Shoot. There we go. Oh, the last one is not gonna be... It's not gonna be fun. Okay, I gotta try to take as little as damage as possible then to prepare for the last one. Oh. Come on. I took so much damage from running into that compared to getting hit by the freaking pulse. Oh, frick! I feel very good about this one right here. Element Trap. Ooh, oh, I called it out. Yeah. The next one has the wood enemy. All I know is it has the bee. Oh, it has two bees and the kettle. As long as I don't interact with the bees, I'm fine. But the kettle is the one that's gonna be moving around. So what I could do here is just honestly just wait until I get element trap. But I could do that as well, and then boom! Oh my goodness, we don't even need element trap. Okay. This one is gonna be a real stress jerker here. Let's do this. Everything has been so... We might win. We might just win just like that. Like that, we win. Don't do that too early. We did all that with no damage. Oh my goodness. I was expecting that to take even longer. Once that was over, I decided to make some last minute preparation by grabbing the double point chip, which adds a total of 60 extra damage for the next battle chip in exchange for losing my tiles. So I got He-Man as I needed his help to seek it out. So this is the only blue mystery data that I know in this area. Well, I know the other one in this area is one that you can easily just walk up to, which is Spreader, I believe. But this one, double points. I had a feeling that was definitely going to be something else. I knew it was going to be something else. So, turns out double point only exists there on the Game Boy Advance version. Since I was playing on the Legacy Collection, all versions of the game was directly taken from the Japanese version, which has quite a couple of changes compared to the international version. So where is double point then? Well, it's in the Immortal or Graveyard area, which is post-game. So I can't do that. Instead, I have color point, which is only 30 extra damage instead of 60. Now the reason I wanted to go after it was because of Gregar having 2500 HP, which was a huge jump compared to anybody else. I did have a few ideas like Flame Hook, but it wasn't going to be enough, which meant I needed to rely on multi-hit moves again. There was the air spinning trick that I could do last time against Circus Man, but I wanted something new, which I came up with using Air Raid, but I would have to wait until right at the end of the game to get it. So I ventured on. I had a rematch fight against Judge Man, who in which got blown up. After that was Element Man stage again, where I got the air raid chip I was looking for in preparation for Gregar. Once I obtained my desired chip, it was time to face Element Man with 1300 HP, which I thought had a bit less than that. It didn't matter though, as I placed a Giga Time Bomb next to him and he blew up. However, once I got past him, it was Circus Man stage. And this is the place where I didn't realize I would be stuck in for a long while. There were a couple of reasons for this, one of which are these enemies that you're supposed to take down, and they were very difficult to avoid taking damage, usually leaving me at low HP or a game over. There was also another pack of enemies that were tricky to avoid, but a little bit more manageable. I usually go for the middle one first, but I needed to switch strategies and go for the right one first, where I had to fight 2 Sandworm and a Mech Sword enemy. Not exactly easy, not exactly hard, but tricky. So I figured that I would take them down first. Because the second one, the one in the middle, was the real stress dealer here. As I said before, dodging them were very difficult. They dealt high damage to me. So I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of HP before going into it. Once that was done, there was one more to go before I had to fight Circus Man, which thankfully was the easiest. But something unexpected came up on my way towards him. Oh no, please don't let these guys... Okay, it's just one. I have to start all over now. Yeah, I had to restart all of that agonizing trial again, with a couple more resets to add on there too. After getting through all that fight again, it was time to fight Circus Man once more. All I had to do was wait for Giga Time Bomb to show up and await the fireworks show. Finally, okay. FGH. Okay, I'm gonna do it right here, and hopefully Circus Man doesn't jump. No! No! That's it. We don't have anything else to one-shot him. I was afraid that was gonna happen, but I was so stubborn. Yeah, that was really unfortunate. I knew that was going to be a problem, so saying that made me do some grinding to ensure I had another chance to take down Circus Man by farming Flame Burner 3 for the third version of Wide Burner, which has a base damage of 400. And with everything in place, I'd be able to one-shot him with that. Even after grinding for that, I didn't even use it as I got Giga Time Bomb again, and it actually landed. At last, the final obstacle out the way, it was finally time to face Gregar. I prepared for this moment when I got air raided, as I felt it was one of two of the only method that I needed to one-shot Gregar. Except I crossed that out and decided to experiment with something that I was unsure of. I wanted to use Wide Burner as I told myself it wasn't going to one-shot. But for some reason, I just really wanted to make sure, since I had a gut feeling I was wrong about something. I was talking about on stream how it would have 100 HP left, even with all the setup in place. So when I decided to test this out, I knew my calculations were incorrect, and it would deal way more than I originally thought. Previously, what I had going for me was that I had thought the damage multiplier would increase by ×1. So 400 base damage, then 800 of full synchro, and then 1200 using the grassy to add up to a total of 2400 damage since Gregar has 2 hitboxes. When in reality, it was ×2 each time, so instead of 1200 damage, it's 1600. Double that, and you got 3200 damage in total to take down Gregar. There was no other chip that could deal that much damage in an instant. Once I realized this, I knew this was what I wanted to do. And remember how I said that multi-hit chips were allowed in this run? Well, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I would have saved myself so much time if I did that. But I thought that this was way more challenging since the timing has to be perfect. And because I was stubborn, it took me many attempts to get lucky. Come on. It seemed like my luck wasn't all that great, but all I needed is the right timing to make it all work. That would have been so perfect. Wasn't prepared for it. I was trying to just stand. Yeah, if I just stood there, I would have. I feel like that's a lot better situation. I think what I'm gonna do is just stand still in the middle. He's not get hit by the tree. See, I got worried about the claw attack more than anything. Would have had it. But right there, I just got worried about the claw. See, now I'm worried about the claw attack now. Okay, it's gonna do it after this. Now show yourself. Really? Finally! Finally! I knew it was just better to just stay still. Oh my goodness, finally! Get this out, get this freaking thing out of my face. Finally! There we have it. With a lot of perseverance, Gregar is finally down, putting us to the end of the game by basically one-shotting everything. If you guys enjoyed what you saw here, feel free to subscribe. There will definitely be more Mega Man challenges on the way, so look out for those if you're interested. Have a good rest of your day and take care. Your fellow Z.